I strongly believe that the summer camp experience for kids is something so vital to get kids out of their normal routines, get them to take some healthy risks in a safe environment, meet people that they wouldn't have normally met before, and try experiences and activities that they wouldn't normally do in home.
Welcome to the Healthy Screen Habits Podcast. I'm Hillary Wilkinson. Whether you're starting your parenting journey with a newborn or looking to connect with your teen on technology, let's learn some new healthy screen habits together. A lot of us got used to using online entertainment during the past 2 years, and now we're having a tricky time convincing kids to get offline and head outside. However, pandemic aside, this is not a new problem, which brings me to our guest today. In fact, in the summer of 2018, he started the world's first clinical summer camp program for teens and adolescents suffering from unhealthy overuse of screen time, social media, and problematic gaming. ReSet Summer Camp offers a fully immersive clinical program couched in a fun-filled summer camp atmosphere. And today I get to talk to the guy who started it all. Welcome to the Healthy Screen Habits Podcast, Michael Jacobus.
Thank you, Hillary. I'm happy to be here.
So let's talk for a minute about summer camp in general. Michael, why is camp important to you?
Well, I've been a summer camp director for over 35 years. And I started as a camper going to summer camp. And then when I got older, I worked at summer camp and then became a program director and eventually a camp director. I strongly believe that the summer camp experience for kids is something so vital to get kids out of their normal routines, get them to take some healthy risks in a safe environment, meet people that they wouldn't have normally met before, and try experiences and activities that they wouldn't normally do in home.
You are like living a dream. Who wouldn't want to spend their career at summer camp? I recognize that when you're directing the summer camp, it's not the same thing as being a camper, but
it's still a lot of fun.
Can you explain what ReSet Summer Camp is and kind of like what was the driver for you to create it?
Well, what's funny about ReSet is it was not originally my idea. I was actually going to retire from running summer camps because I had done it for over 30 years. And I was approached by a colleague at the American Camp Association who knew that I was thinking about being done, and said that they had been contacted by a psychologist that was thinking of doing a gaming addiction summer camp program. And I said, why not? That sounds really good. And the long story short of it is the gentleman involved was really more interested in how much money he could make and how many kids he could enroll. And he was enrolling anger management kids and sexual deviation kids and all kinds of kids that we don't serve at ReSet. And so the first year was kind of a disaster. And I told him, I can fix this. And it's a really good concept. You just need to, kind of get out of your head how much money and how quickly you can make it and not accept anger management kids because we're not an anger management program. And he didn't want to do that. And he ended up shutting down his business. And I continued with the model that I thought would be best, working with clinicians and therapists, and a lot of our staff are PhD candidates or therapy interns. So we sort of have a blend of summer camp fun counselors and therapists who are also, college age. So it's still a summer camp environment, but there's a lot of therapy around it.
Okay. Yeah. My next line of questioning was sort of like what makes ReSet different from other camp experiences. And it's this element of kind of therapy involved.
Well, there's 3 things that make us different than a regular summer camp. Well, 4 things, actually. The first thing is a regular summer camp has kids that are excited to be there, who came last year and can't wait to come again this year and bring their friends and their cousins and their brothers and sisters and swim in the deep end and all kinds of traditional summer camp things. This summer camp, virtually not a single kid is excited to attend. They are, I don't like to use the word forced, but maybe for lack of a better option, they pick us over a wilderness experience or a therapeutic boarding school experience. Where we kind of don't fit a summer camp model and we don't really fit a therapeutic boarding school model. We're sort of in the middle.
Okay.
The other things that make us different is we do have clinicians on staff. All the kids participate in group therapy 3 mornings a week and individual therapy kind of as needed. The individual therapy is not scheduled. It's very organic. And I'm not a therapist, I'm a camp director. But I see therapy happen, on the walk to lunch or sitting on the beach or after dinner before our evening gathering. It's just very organic, and the therapists pick and choose the kids, going through the whole roster to make sure every kid has access. And then we also host our program on a university campus, which is different than a traditional summer camp. I do miss the campfires because we don't have that. We have a gathering every evening, but it's not around a campfire. But we teach a lot of life skills. One of the reasons we do it on a university campus is we want the kids to be responsible for more than just themselves. They have a roommate or 2 roommates, and they have to clean up the room communally. They get a chance to feel what it's going to be like to move out of mom and dad's house and go to college and live in a dorm or rent an apartment and have a roommate. And then in addition to the therapy and the summer camp activities, we teach culinary classes and we teach them how to do their own laundry, things that aren't typical summer camp activities. But our goal is to have them leave the program after being with us for a month as independent, responsible individuals who can take care of themselves, who can cook their own meals, who can do their own laundry, who are responsible for their own rooms. Because a lot of the kids who come to us are not used to doing any of that.
Right. So it's interesting because it sounds like what you're doing is a lot of competency building, a lot of competency building through chores, which in turn brings confidence.
Absolutely. And the fun thing for me as a camp director is the kids don't really notice they're doing it. They're having fun, even though they're reluctant to have fun. The first week is always the hardest because none of the kids want to be there, and their sleep patterns are horrible and their eating habits are horrible. Their behaviors at home are horrible. And they sort of form a little us against them bond because they realize they're not the only socially awkward kid. They're not the only kid who's up till 2 a.m. playing video games.
And they're not the only kid that doesn't want to be there, probably.
Right. So they reluctantly participate the first week. It takes us about a week to get their sleep patterns, set. We go to bed at 9:30 and nobody's ready to go to bed at 9:30. But we wake them up at 6:30 and nobody's ready to wake up at 6:30. So it's funny, during the staff interviews, I really punched that home because it's going to be rough the first week while we get them all on a stable sleep schedule.
Sure. I don't envy you that first week. I'm thinking of these beautiful camp environments that you're in, and at first I was envious, but now I'm going, oh, maybe not so much.
It's a very challenging first week.
Oh, okay. We have to take a little break, but when we come back, I am going to ask Michael for some more information about ReSet Summer Camp. Special thanks to the Doctors Petty, Laura Hoffman, and Danielle Waters for their financial support of healthy screen habits. It allows us to continue our mission of educating and empowering families to create their healthiest screen habits. My guest is Michael Jacobus, founder of ReSet Summer Camp, an internationally recognized author, child development specialist, and camp professional. So, Michael, before the break, we were talking about how your campers come to you not necessarily because they want to be there, but it's my understanding that most parents sign them up, and I even understand that not every applicant gets accepted. Can you talk a little bit more about your screening process and why that exists?
Yeah, absolutely. We have, I think it's about 35 questions. Anybody can apply to come to camp. The application process is completely free, and you answer the 35 questions. And then those answers go to our clinical staff who review them and then schedule a phone call with the parent who filled out the application. And then they will set a time, have a phone call, and go over how they answered those questions to make sure we have a real clear picture on who the camper is that they want to send. It's not hard to get accepted into our program, but kind of like I said before the break, if there's anger management issues, we turned down a mother 2 summers ago who said the police had been to her house 3 times for her 12-year-old who came at her with a knife because she turned off the Wi-Fi.
Oh,
And that exists, that
sure.
happens, but we are not a camp program for that kind of kid. That requires much more intensive treatment than we can do in a summer camp environment. Even though we have a 3-to-1 camper to staff ratio, we're a pretty small program, very heavy staffed, but still we can't handle excessive anger management issues. I call it sexual deviations. If there's sexual misconduct in the child's past, we don't really want them in a dorm situation where it might happen again. We are a co-ed program, although we tend to have a higher capacity of boys than girls. Boys are usually the gamers, girls are usually the social media kids, but that's not always the case. I kind of leave that up to the clinical team to address the answers to the application to determine if the child is a good fit. And it's also there's no nice way to say this, it's also to screen out liars. Because I have in my career found parents that will answer any way possible to get their kid accepted into a program. And then we end up having to send that kid home because the application wasn't correct. And it's horrible for the kid. It's a bad experience for the parents. It's not good for anybody. So we really try to make them understand, it's okay if your kid is on medication. It's okay if your kid has an IEP. It's okay if your kid has, high functioning autism. None of those factors are reasons to reject the child's application. We just need to clearly understand what we're all getting into.
Right. I can understand the need for all of the types of screening that you're talking about. And I appreciate you talking about that you do accept neurodiverse population members and everyone who is qualified to fit in your camp, but you kind of recognize the lane that you're in.
Well, when I first talked about this with our clinical staff, I said, I just need to know if the child can complete the program and,
Mm,
participate. And, I understand they don't want to, that's another problem. But as long as they can physically and mentally participate, understand, and gain something from the program, then I don't have a problem accepting them. And then, over the years, they've added questions based on, kids that we had to send home for one reason or another. And, there's a few more anger management questions on there than there was originally and things like that. But it's really the clinical staff's call on who gets accepted.
So, just out of my own curiosity, is there a few more anger management questions because you have found a rise in anger management issues over the years, or simply because you recognized, oh, we kind of missed this category?
It's probably a little bit of both. I think the pandemic certainly didn't help with the kids staying inside, and going to school from home and talking to their friends online and doing homework online and playing games online and never coming out of their rooms at all. Their social emotional growth has been completely stunted, and a lot of them act out. But again, acting out is one thing, and coming at your mom with a knife is another thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think we've expanded on the questions and some of the conversation that happens that isn't even on the questionnaire to really dig into exactly what we're looking at when this kid comes to the program.
Can you talk about what are the age ranges that you say you've got both boys and girls coming, and what are the age ranges of campers?
Well, typically we'll accept kids 12 to 19. 2 years ago, we did have a 21-year-old. Last year, we had a 20-year-old. If you're 18 or over, we house you in dorms apart from the under 18 kids. Typically, we're a teenager program because the whole goal is to get ready for life. and to
Right.
get out of mom and dad's house and finish high school and move on and go to college. But we do see a certain number of, over 18s that are, doing an extra year of high school or still at home, and the failure to launch crowd. We sort of made a conscious decision not to go beyond 20, because that's a different, that's an adult program.
Right.
And my background is, kid summer camp. So we're just going to stay with teens.
I like how you've specialized. So when we talk about the sort of dangerous areas of online use, we cover the what we call the big three, which are gaming, social media, and streaming. And for listeners who are unfamiliar with that term streaming refers to continuous watching of any streaming platform, be it YouTube, Netflix, and a lot of times adult content channels. Having seen the detox process happen over that the whole time, I'm sure, at your camp, Michael, do you find any one of these areas to be exceptionally difficult for campers to break free from?
Well, the exceptionally difficult one I would say would be the social media connections,
Mm,
and which is funny because most people would probably expect me to say the gaming. But it's funny because the kids that come off gaming, after about a week of good nutrition and good sleep habits, they miss their games, but they're fine and they can function. The kids that are into the social media, they derive a lot of their self-worth off, how many likes they get. And I asked a question one time a couple of years ago. I said, how many people have ever posted a photo online of themselves and then taken it down within an hour because it didn't get enough likes? And every girl raised their hand, and most of the boys,
sure.
which cracked me up being an older person, because I put pictures online because I like the picture, because I like where I was or the experience, not because I care if anybody else likes it. But today's youth, it's completely reversed. It's how does my hair look, and did I use the right filter, and all these different things. So the withdrawals that the social media kids go through is much more intense than the gamers or the streamers.
So they're almost having to kind of redefine an identity or a sense of self-worth without that external validation.
Absolutely. And one thing that's nice about the camp environment is everybody's in that same boat.
Sure.
And the girls, you will typically bring makeup, and we'll tell them you don't need any makeup here. You just get to be yourself here. And in that first week, they don't listen and they wear a lot, but after a while they stop wearing it because it's okay, because nobody's judging them and nobody really cares if they have makeup on or not, because it's not about what they look like or who they're presenting themselves to be. It's about who they really are.
Nice. Nice. So I find it interesting that your summer camp is 4 weeks long, because that kind of holds hands with the length of time prescribed by Dr. Victoria Dunkley, the author of Reset Your Child's Brain, which is a 4-week plan to end meltdowns, raise grades, and boost social skills by reversing the effects of electronic screen time. It's a very long title for an important book, but a very long title. So 4 weeks is a long time. And I just wonder if you can kind of speak to the length of it and why is it necessary for 4 weeks. When I think about my family's summer, I think, gosh, if I commit my child to 4 weeks of a program, that basically is their summer. It's not, we're not going to be able to do much else. So can you speak to the length and why that's necessary?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, coming from a summer camp background, a lot of East Coast summer camps where American summer camping began, it's not unusual for it to be 4 or even 6 weeks. Here in California and on the West Coast, typically camp is a week, and you're gone. Um, I decided on 4 weeks, for a couple of reasons, but mostly from the input of my clinical director. Kind of doing the math on, the first week is crazy and nobody wants to be here and we're getting all the sleep. So it can't be a week. The second week, they're just sort of coming around to getting used to the sleep habits, getting used to but they're not really opening up in therapy yet. The third week, they're starting to open up in therapy. And the fourth week kind of reinforces everything the first 3 weeks have done. So we sort of decided that the fifth week would be kind of redundant of the fourth week, and 3 weeks would really not be enough. So we decided on 4 weeks. There's also the possibility that we might expand this program and have an East Coast location. We had actually planned on doing that this summer, but we put it off till next summer. And based on when kids are getting out of school or have to go back into school, one of the reasons we do pretty much the entire month of July is because most kids and college students who are our staff are available in that month. If you push too far into August, then kids are going back into school. And if you push too far into June, kids aren't out of school yet.
Right. And this week, I think camp runs July 3rd through the 31st.
Yeah. So we start staff training on June 27th. So we'll have staff there for a week before the kids arrive. And then July 31st is the last day of camp, which we end with a family workshop weekend. So the families will show up on that Friday of the last weekend.
Okay. So everybody goes home the campers all go home on
the 31st.
Harry Potter's birthday. Which is what I was thinking. Okay. Which is when we know all magical things happen, Michael.
Course,
so there you go. So are there ever instances, I think you've already answered this in the philosophy behind the amount of time, but I feel like people are going to want to know. Do you ever let people enroll for only half of the time, like do a 2-week stint, or is that?
No, we've had that request many times. And it's funny because the parents usually request it because they have other busy things to do in the summer. And to me, there's nothing more important than detoxing your kid. If you've called me in the first place, you have a problem and you recognize that your kid might be a good fit for the program, but you want to get out early. And, we also ask, one of our screening questions is, can you show up to the family workshop? And if parents can't make it, then we don't accept the application. Now, some parents will say they can make it, and then something comes up, and they'll send one parent or a grandparent. The whole goal of the family workshop is that somebody who will be at home with the child when he leaves camp or she leaves camp can participate.
Okay.
But no, we've had, can you take younger kids for maybe 2 weeks? And we thought about doing that a couple of years ago, but we, like I described the 4-week program, we really need the 4 weeks to do the whole program that we do.
Right, right. And I think the residential part of it is really important as well. So I was thinking for local people, they might ask, oh, can they only go during the day?
Because the social emotional development happens during non-program specific times, during sharing a dorm room, during, wake up call between wake up and get out of your dorm room. So, we're not a day camp program. We're not just a midweek program. You can't just pop by on the weekends. It doesn't work.
Right, right. And I think for people who have kind of bought into what I consider, I'm showing my own biases here, but the whole concept of quality time over quantity time, I think, for many years it was taught that, as long as you've got this intense amount of quality, then that kind of negates the need for the quantity of time that needs to happen. But actually, the quality is in the quantity of time.
Right. And one of the first things we tell parents, I communicate with parents during the camp program and, of course, during the parent workshop, is that they have to lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. You can't be mad at your kid for being on their cell phone at the dinner table if you're on yours.
Right.
You can't get your kid to take tech out of their room if tech is in your room.
I think also having the child gone for a full month would also allow time to kind of maybe reorganize the house if need be. So if you need to get tech out of the bedrooms during that time, that is the month that can happen. So to support your child in their moving forward when they come home, you don't want to have had them have this amazing reset experience and come home ready to work their program and then throw them right back into a bedroom that's got the screens, the chargers, the everything online.
Yeah, exactly. We tell all the parents to do that while their kids are at camp. And we tell the kids at camp that when they go home, their home environment will be different or should be different.
Hmm. So, do you receive follow-up feedback from families and campers after they leave?
Well, we do an 8 week uh, follow up with each camper or each family, which is to say, one of our staff will video chat or phone call each camper once a week for 8 weeks after the program. And really, that's a check in. It's to see if they're maintaining what they learned at camp, if they made that meal they learned how to cook, if they're doing their own laundry. It'll barely get back into the school year, so we're checking to see if they're doing their homework first before getting online, and we'll check in with the families. Now, I do get a lot of emails from parents thanking me for the change we've made in their child. We had a couple parents want to sign their kids up for the next year, not because they went back to the dark side of tech addiction, but because they really enjoyed the month off, and the kid expressed a desire to help the next generation of kids, which
Oh,
I was very pleasantly surprised about. We've even
sure.
had some return to be junior staff members. We actually had to create a junior staff program for these kids because I didn't anticipate anybody would want to come back. I figured they'd get detoxed and then go to surf camp next year or go to sailing camp. I didn't expect returners. We did get a lot of positive feedback.
Well, that's fantastic, and congratulations to you because that truly the measurement of success of a program is its durability. And if you are creating people who have gone through the experience and want to continue it for others, I mean, you are successful. So,
Yeah.
yay, you. Um, we've talked a lot about this kind of, building of life skills and therapy and all of this, kind of what sounds like a lot of weighty stuff. But I want to make sure that people understand that you do offer, more traditional, what we would consider summer camp fun. Could you kind of like go maybe just like take us through a day
Oh,
or?
sure, sure. We have beach day once a week. Where our camp is in Santa Barbara, so one day after breakfast, we all get in the van and go to the beach, and we don't do any therapy. Well, I say that the therapist comes with us, and I see them talking to kids on the beach, but they don't realize it's therapy. So we're boogie boarding, we're volleyballing, we're playing the guitar. We do sports and activities on campus. We swim, we play basketball and volleyball. We do self defense classes. We do improv. Like I said, we did cooking. We try to make the life skills portion happen as an expectation, not as a learning activity, because we treat all the kids like adults, even though they're kids. The adults that they will be one day, and so we don't single out any one person who has never done their laundry before. We assume nobody's ever done their laundry before.
Oh,
And I
nice.
and I even share a story with the kids that I didn't know what a lint screen was until I went to college because I lived at home and my mom did my laundry. It doesn't mean I was a bad kid or lazy or way rich because we weren't. It's just how life happened. So we try to make sure that it's not an embarrassment for anybody. But like I said, we'll do art and we'll play guitar. We'll do yoga. We do a ton of summer camp activities in the context of being on a college campus and having it be somewhat therapeutic.
We have to take a short break, but when we come back, I'm going to ask Michael Jacobus for his healthy screen habit. Do you know what's happening during your child's online exchanges? As well intentioned as we are, often reading every text message, post, and email is just not realistic. This is where Bark comes in to help. Founded in 2015, Bark Technologies provides a parental control app that monitors and alerts parents to online threats. Bark was created for parents by parents to offer a better, easier, and more effective way to keep children safe online. Bark monitors posts and messagings for things like signs of bullying and communication with dangerous strangers. Bark's algorithms analyze all activity and issue parents notifications via their chosen communication method. Gain peace of mind and get 10% off of Bark service for life by using the Healthy Screen Habits link. Go to our website at healthyscreenhabits.org, click on the Tools button in the drop-down menu, and look for products we endorse to find Bark. It will be the easiest click you make all day. Peace of mind is just a bark away. My guest today is Michael Jacobus, founder of ReSet Summer Camp. And before we get into the Healthy Screen Habit, I know I've got listeners from all over who I'm certain are just leaning forward and trying to figure out, where is this place? How do I get more information? What's the pricing? All the deets. Can you give them to us?
Yeah, of course. You can learn everything you need to know on our website, which is resetsummercamp.com. The application button is in the upper right-hand corner. And like I said, it's free to apply, fill out questions, and talk to a clinical director. The camp program itself this summer is at Westmont College in Santa Barbara. We do request parents drop their kids off, although we are allowing airport pickups at the Santa Barbara airport the day before camp. So that would be July 2nd. The campers should arrive after 2 p.m. on July 3rd otherwise. The cost of the program is $8,250. That's $8,250. And before your listeners have a heart attack, I know it sounds expensive. Being a summer camp director for so many years, it is very expensive, although not the most expensive for a month of summer camp. However, as compared to a residential treatment facility, it's the cheapest game in town. So you really need to sort of weigh the costs and benefits of what it would mean to send your kid to a program like ours for a month. Versus a wilderness program or a therapeutic boarding school, which is considerably longer and considerably more expensive.
And I noticed on your website there are areas for financial assistance.
Yes, once you're accepted into the program, if you require financial assistance, you can apply for tuition help. We'll send you a form and you fill it out and send in your tax return, and it gets reviewed. There's also a banking partner that we have that will allow you to set up and make payments, I think, for as long as 5 years, like buying a car. The fee for the camp covers everything except the actual transportation to and from camp for the camper, and the transportation and accommodations for the parents for the family workshop. And I say the accommodations because there are some limited dorm rooms available at Westmont, but I don't make those plans for parents. Some choose to stay at a local hotel. Some choose to stay on site in a dorm room. It all really depends on the family.
Thank you for all that information. And I certainly understand hesitation over pricing. I also recognize that lots of times this type of investment is cheaper on this side than on the recovery side of follow-up. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So Michael, on each episode, I ask every guest for a healthy screen habit, which is a tip or takeaway our listeners can put into practice in their own home. Here, I thought you'd be giving us one on like s'mores building and, campfire. But you say you aren't allowed campfires, so that seems cruel and unusual. But do you have a screen habit you can share with us today?
Well, I'll share two, actually. The first one is, we talk to the kids about the importance of sleep. And of course, when you're a kid, you don't think you need any sleep. So my first screen habit suggestion is to turn off all electronics at least an hour before bedtime. And that's really to allow your brain to calm down, allow the melatonin to start producing so you're sleepy and ready for bedtime. Obviously, having a number of hours to sleep, at least 7 or 8, especially when you're a teenager, is super important. But then my other healthy screen habit suggestion is to not use your iPhone as your alarm clock. If possible, charge your phone, charge your devices outside of your bedroom. We have a lot of parents that will actually put a power strip in the closet of the master bedroom and put a padlock on that door. So at bedtime, all the devices go on the charger and the closet gets locked. And two objections that I hear: well, I need my alarm clock, or I listen to music. I'll lift up my Walmart $4.95 alarm clock and say, here's an alarm clock. You don't need it to sleep.
Right.
We're just so used to it is the problem.
If our listeners would like more information about this incredible 4-week opportunity, or if you are concerned about your child's tech use and would like to take a short quiz for use as an informal screening tool, please visit resetsummercamp.com. As always, I'll link all of this information in the show notes, which you can find by going to healthyscreenhabits.org. Click on the podcast button and scroll down to find this episode, which is season 4, episode 3. Thank you so much for talking with me today, Michael.
My pleasure.
For more information, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Healthy Screen Habits. Make sure to visit our website, healthyscreenhabits.org, where you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or via RSS, so you'll never miss an episode. It's free, it's fun, and you get a healthy new screen habit each week. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate you giving us a quick rating. It really does help other people find us and spread the word of healthy screen habits. Or if you'd simply like to tell a friend, we'd love that too. I so appreciate you spending your time with me this week, and I look forward to learning more healthy habits together.